Hi there, I'm your host June Mack, and you're listening to the Little Psychic Podcast, the podcast with easy to understand, fun and down-to-earth spiritual learning which awakens in you the infinite intuitive power we all hold within. Little Psychic, I hope to ignite, nurture and drive your own psychic expansion. Are you ready? Welcome to the Little Psychic Podcast. I'm your host, June Mack, and I'm here to guide you through every stage of your spiritual journey, whether you're just awakening your intuitive gifts, refining your power as a light worker, or stepping into the role of a spiritual entrepreneur. I'm here to support you. Join me as we awaken your intuition and even help you create a booked out business of impact. In this episode, I talk about my journey to becoming a spiritual entrepreneur. I share how I unlocked my purpose, discovered what's really important to us, such as balancing our family life, along with our passions, and creating our own version of success. Hello, and welcome back to the Little Psychic Podcast. I am your host, June Mack, and I am a psychic medium teacher and a business mentor for the spiritual entrepreneur. So that's the first time I've said that. Welcome back. I have been off or haven't recorded. I think my last episode was in November. So been off for a couple of months and just thought I would fill you in on what's been going on. I've had a massive, big death and rebirth over the last couple of months. Basically, I had a bit of a hermit phase, which those of you who are familiar with tarot or who know or who are familiar with being in the spiritual space, it's like it's what I like to call the phase where you really go within and you spend a lot of time reflecting and learning and evolving, and things are changing, and then you come out ready to go again. So I've had such a big death rebirth. I really left off sort of in a bit of a confused state. I guess you could say that I knew that there was something that needed to be worked on, but I didn't know what it was or how to do it. So pretty much last year I did a lot of one-on-ones, so which is amazing. I did heaps of one-on-one readings, heaps of one-on-one mentoring. I didn't get a chance really to run any of my programs last year, which is something that I absolutely love doing. And I found myself sort of spending all of my time in these one-on-ones, which is amazing. But I did get to the point where towards the end of the year, where I was thinking, I'm sure I'm meant to be doing something else. I'm sure I need to go back and teaching my programs. And I just didn't know how or what I was doing, basically. I felt that, the time that I didn't have my daughter, I was doing one-on-ones. I didn't really have much time to focus on building my business or being able to serve as many people as possible, because basically every spare moment I had was in one-on-ones, which I'm so grateful to have had that work. It was one of the busiest years I've ever had in my entire life. It was like to another level, like bringing in another child. Those of you that have your third babies, it's just insane in a good way, like a beautiful way. But they were, having two bigger sisters and a baby, they were bringing home everything from kinder and school, and my littlest baby just kept getting sick, and we weren't sleeping, and then both of myself and my husband have our own businesses, so we were working, but we are so blessed to have been able to do that in a way that she was always with us. But anyway, coming back to the big death rebirth, what happened last year, I was burning out and I couldn't figure out why. Why do I keep burning out? Like, why does this feel hard? Doing all these readings, and it's because it was my time, or it is my time, to change up what it is that I'm doing, because I have changed, I've evolved. I've been doing readings for 4 or 5 years now, and I love doing them. I'm still going to continue to do them, but I just need to change the way in which I'm doing them, and to change the way I work into a way that continues to fuel me and light me up. And I couldn't figure out what that was last year. So I needed that time to go back, go within and reassess. I literally stopped posting on all social media, stopped recording my podcast episodes. I did a small business course, which is exactly what I needed, because it brought me so much clarity of where I'm taking my business and what I'm going to do moving forward. And and this is advice for everybody, which is, when you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, go back and think about what lights you up and what really excites you. And what happened last year was I just felt like Spirit was pushing me in this direction. All the readings that I was doing, majority of them, who was being sent to me were Lightworkers. So people who wanted to bring their gifts into the world and create their own business. And those are the ones that, when I look back, those readings were the ones that were giving me life. Moving forward, I think that the business side, or the light workers, or the spiritual entrepreneur, or helping people with their small businesses, tied in with the intuitive stuff, because I'm always going to love the woo-woo. I'm always going to be the spiritual, and I still love helping people to awaken their psychic gifts. That is still a huge passion of mine. So I was wondering, how do I intertwine these two, and just confusing myself, but turns out it's actually pretty easy. I know that what I am great at is helping others work out what it is that they are here to do. I am good at showing them, or pulling out and pointing out the obvious of what they are naturally really amazing at and what they embody. And when it is yourself, sometimes it's so much harder to see what you're great at, because we're used to these things. So aligning what it is that you do with your soul purpose, with your life moving forward, really helps. So there are all these things like that just make me so excited, which are helping you know what it is, or remember what it is that you are here to do. So helping them to discover or remember what it is you are here to do, tying that in with your intuition, your own intuition, and what feels good for you, because don't forget, you have the choice to live this out however you decide to. And helping you awaken your gifts and bring them back up to the level that is going to help you move forward in your life. And then for those of you that want to make this into a business, or maybe you already have a business and I can help you with the intuition side, that is what I want to do moving forward. So I'm still going to be doing programs that are for beginners. I really feel like the Little Psychic School is an awesome sort of like starting point if you don't really know where to begin. So what I figured out during this time off is how to arrange my programs. So before I continue the story, the programs that I have coming up, so pretty soon, I don't know when this episode is going to come out, but February 27th, there's going to be a free masterclass, which is the ultimate guide to becoming a confident and skilled psychic medium. So that will be in the show notes if you want to sign up for that. I also have a program called Psychic School Elite. So junemac.com/Psychic School Elite if you want to go and check that out. Early bird pricing is up right now. And that is for those that know this year you are sick of the excuses. You are a psychic medium, but you can't quite get over that hump of just doing it. So just freaking doing it and being here to help who you are here to help, to be confident in what it is that you do, to refine your readings, to get to the point that you need to get to bloody well start your own business, or do this, just do it for a living. And that's what Psychic School Elite is for. So that is the first program that I'm going to be releasing this year. And then after that, there will be another one that goes more into the business side. So Psychic School Elite is more just around actually refining your psychic mediumship abilities and the beginnings of working out who you're here to help, and your services, and how to align your services past your limiting beliefs and actually being confident in what it is that you do. And then practice. It's going to be a small customized group program. It goes for 16 weeks. And I am going to really use my intuitive abilities to help you within this program to figure out the best way that you learn, the best way that your abilities come out, because everyone's abilities are totally unique to them, and the best way to form your services. So if this is your year and you're done with freaking excuses, this is the program for you. And that will be in the show notes too. So basically what I believe I can do is, if you're already in business and you have the business side, I can help you use your intuition to improve your business. It is like the secret weapon to creating a business that is fully aligned with who you are and what you are here to do, and taking it to that next level. You might have a business that is successful financially speaking, but it doesn't feel good. It's not lighting you up. And that is so many people, and I have been there before, and that's what I'm here to share with you today, is that story. And so to bridge the gap between those entrepreneurs who don't understand how to use their intuition, and then also for the light workers who have this amazing work and intuitive abilities to share, and are great healers, coaches, psychic mediums, having your own unique offering, but you don't understand the business side. So I can bridge the gap here and help you with with a service-based business, basically. So this episode is called Becoming a Spiritual Entrepreneur. And how did I get here? I haven't really shared this side of my story. And where I am now, I am really proud of where I have gotten to. So myself and my husband, we both work for ourselves, and we have gotten ourselves to a point where we have our life, which our business fits around our life and our children. And we really know what is important, and we value time with our kids, and we value family time and having time to do things for ourselves and take care of ourselves, but also get to do what lights us up, what makes us happy. So we literally changed our whole entire lives to suit our passion. And doing this through raising 3 children, continuing to have babies, and being able to get myself to a point that I have a waiting list now. My readings last year were booked up at least 2 months in advance. They could have gone further, but I was too afraid to open it up further. So 2 months in advance, they were booked out, and then there was a waiting list. And my mentoring was similar speaking. I still have a waiting list, but I am going to move more into the program side of things. I'm still going to do readings, but I'm probably just going to open them up occasionally. So if you're not on my mailing list, I'll put that in the show notes too. Get on my mailing list, because I'll send out alerts to you guys first. Or, if you're not following me on Instagram, to let you know when I've opened up, and I'll just open up a bunch at a time. Where we've gotten ourselves to is basically I've created an income for myself where, I could be making this much working full time, but I'm working part time. And it's not about the money. And it's never about the money for those of you that are light workers. If you're in it for the right reasons, it's because you want to help the people. And honestly, money is just a byproduct of the amount of people that you have helped. And I'm not a millionaire yet. I haven't hit 6 figures in my business. I know I'm going to get there. But in the past, I haven't given myself enough credit. And I guess that's what I was working on through this period, or through my death rebirth period, which was, not everybody has the guts to really risk a lot financially in your life to be able to live out their soul's purpose. And really, that is what you are here to do. I'm not going to lie, we did put our house on the line. We have done that. And I'm not telling you to do that, but for me, the need to be able to fulfill what it is that I'm here to do was greater than monetary or physical belongings, if that makes sense. Luckily for us, it's worked out. And we were able to make it so that my husband works in the morning. So he owns a coffee van, and he works from 5 a.m. till 11 a.m. He comes home, does if you have your own business, it sort of never stops. You're always kind of doing things like restocking, ordering for the next day, money. And then so in the afternoons, anytime from 1 or 2 p.m., I will then work maybe till about 4, not long, few hours. And then at nighttime, sometimes I run classes. So probably once a week for an hour and a half, I'll be running classes. So that has been working for us. And I have been so lucky to be able to get my business to a point where it does financially contribute to the household. And that feels good for me too. So if I can do it, I'm here to tell you that you can do it, and I can help you to do this as well. But how did I get here? It didn't just happen. But in my one-on-ones, many people, what was happening was a natural progression. They were starting with me to develop their psychic abilities or their mediumship abilities. They're starting with me for that. Then they were like, I want to do this for a living. So they would then go, oh, well, I'm going to book in more one-on-ones with you because now I need help with the small business side. And then there were people that were able to start their own businesses within like 6 months of working with me, and are continuing to work as a light worker now. And every now and again, still book in with me because they want advice on, okay, how do I get my business to the next part? How do I get it to the next level? How do I go from here to here? And you can do things so much quicker than me. My entrepreneurial journey literally goes back 8 years. You can do this so much faster if you want to, with getting the right help. For me, it's been a complete journey going from one thing to another, to get myself to this spiritual entrepreneur place. And I'm going to tell you about that in a second. But I've been helping people with their small businesses almost the entire time, but I just haven't spoken about it anywhere. And now I'm realizing that it's as much a passion for me as the psychic stuff is, the mediumship stuff is. And I want to continue to up-level my business and then help others with this too. And I can help more people with programs. My story, or how I sort of got here, before children, I've been working in the surf industry since I was like 18, 19 years old. Surf retail, believe it or not. And I started out just in the stores as a casual, and then very quickly got myself into management roles and started managing smaller stores and then bigger stores and then flagship stores. So it was called Planet Surf back in the day. It's now Osmosis. Osmosis bought it out. That's who I started out working for. I also, during this, did my HR diploma of human resources. And eventually within the surf industry, I ended up becoming a HR manager of, I think it was like 13 stores at one point. I was also an area manager. I actually did a fill-in role as a state retail manager for Planet Surf, and 13 stores at their greatest. And this is where I gained a lot of my customer service and people skills, how to deal with people, a lot of time management skills. Back in the day, we had to do all of our own marketing, profits, losses, KPIs, bestsellers, how to sell, my confidence in speaking to people, a lot of my leadership skills, and teaching teams and training people, in HR. So all of that was sort of stepping stones in building where I am now. So those of you that are listening now, it's funny when you think back at all the things that you're gaining, which might be leading you up to who you are meant to be as a light worker, or who you are meant to be, as a psychic medium, if that's what it is that you feel a calling for. If you feel that little bubbling in your stomach, or I like to say in my solar plexus, where it excites you a little bit, but it scares you at the same time, I'm probably onto something with mentioning this. I worked with, so going back to profit and loss stuff. And so I ended up, moving, so for Oakley, working for Oakley South Pacific. So Oakley Sunglasses in their head office, which is not there anymore. It was in Melbourne. And was retail operations and trading manager. So had 11 stores across Australia and New Zealand. And that was amazing. I also worked in their sales department for Oakley South Pacific. So had this I really loved working. So this is before children. Really loved working, was always very, I guess, employment driven, or driven in my work. And for me, that's what gave me a sense of purpose, is my work. That was such a huge part of my identity. And this is the same, I know, for a lot of mums. And when I had my first daughter, so back in 2014, stopping what I felt like was my purpose at the time and moving into motherhood. I loved being a mother. I love my daughter more than anything. Obviously, it's the most important role to me ever. But I ended up with pretty severe postnatal depression in the first year of her life because I felt like my whole identity was taken away, and it was really hard for me to not work and just change into being completely responsible for somebody else. I didn't know how to do it. I did have a lot of hormonal imbalances, and I felt like work made me. And it was really hard for me in that first year. Luckily, I did not have any issues bonding with my daughter. It wasn't that type of postnatal depression. It was more along the lines of battling with myself and who I was, because, it's so hard, right? Because she's the only thing that would make me happy. But at the same time, the change from going to, busy business, like working in a business or working full time, and then going to no work and full time being at home and inside and not talking to people. And I'm such a people person and was managing hundreds of staff, and then going from that to inside your house every day, not being able to talk to anyone and except for your husband. And when they come home, you're literally like, they're trying to go to the toilet and you are talking their ear off, and they're like, I know you're really excited to see me, but can I just have a moment to myself to go to the bathroom, because you're so desperate to talk to somebody. So anyone who has gone through motherhood, I hope that you can relate, to a degree with that. And anyway, when my daughter got to 6 months, I found out that, hey, maybe I can go to work a little bit. So I went back just as a casual, and that was really good just to be able to talk to adults. And I went back 1 day a week on the weekend. So my husband had my daughter, and it was great to make me just feel like me again and be part of a team and talk to people. So that was great, but I still didn't know what on earth I was here to do. What am I doing? Because having a child changes you and your priorities change. I wanted to be there for her. Something inside of me knew I am never going back to full-time work. I just knew that, because while my children are little, I wanted to be there for them. Not that there's anything wrong with mums who go back to full-time work. If that's what you enjoy and that makes you feel fulfilled and that's what makes you you, of course, that's your thing. For me, I knew that wasn't for me. So I still was trying to figure that out. But going back 1 day a week was great. My husband, he'd always had cafes and restaurants we've been together since we were 18, and most of the time that I'd known him, he'd either own restaurants with his family or with business partners. And he sort of went from one to another, opening up different ones, running different ones for people. And he opened up a cafe around the same time. So when just a couple of years, so my daughter was around 2, I think, 1 or 2, when he opened a new cafe, and we went and we lived upstairs, and I put myself into this cafe as well, because I was like, I need to do something that makes me feel like I'm contributing. So I helped with their staffing. I helped with their marketing. I took over their social media management for this cafe. I had a fair bit to do with it. And it was the first time I'd really had anything to do with my husband's businesses, because I was too busy in my own career to be able to help him before. And it felt really awesome to be able to contribute. And it was sort of my first step into entrepreneurship. It's obviously his thing. He works there full time, but I did what I could while having a 2-year-old daughter. And, it was really fun, and I felt like I was contributing, but at the same time I was like, oh, this is his thing. This isn't my thing. What is my thing? I spent so much time, and I know there's a lot of you out there that probably are like, well, what is my thing? What am I here to do? Like, what is my thing? And I knew I was here. I had this knowing that I had this greater purpose and that I'm here to do something big, but I, for the life of me, could not figure out what the hell it was. And he was working a lot. So he was working 7 days a week. We were living upstairs. We literally couldn't get away from the place. And I felt like at that point that I was pretty much raising our daughter on my own. And, I'm going to be very vulnerable here and be very honest. And he knows this. So we've spoken about all of this. I'm not sharing anything that he doesn't know, but resentment started to creep in. Like, even though he was doing this for us, he was running this business because he thought, okay, like, I'm going to provide for my family. I'm going to be successful for my family. But at the same time, it's like he wasn't able to be there for his family. So I felt like I was doing motherhood alone, still struggling with my identity. I had come out of postnatal depression, like literally lasted for like the first, I'm going to say 6 months. Once I started working again, it helped so much. So I was very lucky it was short-lived for me. But the fact that he was never there, the fact that I felt like I pretty much had our daughter 7 days a week, they couldn't really bond properly. He missed out on all the family things. Resentment started creeping. How come he gets to do what he wants to do? How come he gets to talk to people all day and feel like he has a purpose? And I knew I had this purpose. Anyway, I got this little inkling for a business that I might like to start on my own. And I was like, hey, and I wanted to be able to incorporate my daughter into it as well. I wanted to be with her. So what if I could run around and help other people do like a personal assistant, things like grocery shopping. So back in the day, back at this time, so 2016, there wasn't really like online shopping and stuff like that. I thought, what if I could go and do shopping for people? You know, people are busy, run around, pick up their stuff from the chemist or prescriptions, like for older people. What if I could go and someone had a boring ass job at their house and it was, literally one of the jobs I did was arrange people's DVDs in alphabetical order. The things that you just don't want to do. You know, when you look at something and you go, I really need to clean out my wardrobe, but I do not want to do it. I need to organize my wardrobe into color codes or whatever it is you want to do. I do not want to do it. I was that person. So this business was called Mum on the Run. And this was when my daughter was 2 years old. I started it and it was a personal assistant business and I did everything. So like someone was trying to source someone who had a business, they were trying to source a space to work from. I went around and I called all these, spaces and tried to figure out for my client a space that they could hire. I would go and sort people's babies' clothing into sizes. So all the zeros, all the double zeros, all the ones, all the twos that they could like donate or sell certain sizes. And I would sell them for them, on Facebook Marketplace. Like that was what I did. So many different random jobs. So, and a lot of the stuff I could take my daughter with me, which was amazing. This business took off pretty quickly. It did really well. I ended up being featured in the newspaper for this idea pretty early on. I liked it for a certain amount of time and then I got bored. So this is the thing when you have a really great idea for a business, but the idea comes from this is what people need rather than this is what I want to do. People need this. So this is what I've learned along the way. I am a creator. So my life path number is 3. I've just learned about this in numerology and I'm here to create a lot. Once I stopped creating in terms of setting up my business, like for me, that was so fun, like figuring out how to create an ABN, how to market myself, how to create a website, how to design a logo. Uniforms I designed. I even had my own little uniform. My dad would come with me. Oh my gosh, I even had this job delivering flowers. So for a florist, they hired me to pick up the flowers and drop them off at people's houses. I could take my daughter with me in the car. And once I stopped creating, I got bored. But still, in terms of my husband's business, he wasn't really around. And honestly, it started to affect our relationship because that resentment, like I spoke about, that started to creep in, came in. We weren't spending time together and we have never had any trouble and I don't mean this in a boast, I don't mean this to boast, but for as long as we've been together, we really have not had very many hard times. So we've been together for 22 years, I think, this year. And I am so lucky. Like he's the most beautiful, wonderful, supportive person. He's my biggest cheerleader ever. We never really had marital problems before or problems within our relationship. And during this time that he was working so much, that was the time that we were probably ever have been the most unhappy within our marriage. So, and we both realized this and we were both very open with each other with this eventually, right? First, you just have the resentment creeps in. And you get a bit snipey and you don't know why you're annoyed, but you're annoyed and everything they do annoys you. And I was annoyed because he wasn't around And he was annoyed because I was being annoyed at him, but not telling him why, I was triggered. And when we spoke about it, we'd had it for, I think, the cafe for 3 years. And I'm so lucky that it's going to make me teary. For him, he always makes me feel like I am his everything. And I know that I am always his number one priority, myself and the girls, obviously. But he decided he didn't want to do the cafe anymore because it was affecting us and he could see it was affecting me. But eventually it came out and he decided, look, I'm going to pack in the cafe, which for a lot of people, they were like, you guys are just starting to do really well. The cafe's really taking off. So monetarily speaking, it was doing amazing. And, this is where you have to think about monetary success, which is what a lot of people base success on, is not the only form of success. You have to think about what success means for you. For me, if you have monetary success and you're also successful and feeling happy within your family, within your marriage, you're feeling happy within your life, for me, that is real success. So the money side isn't everything. The money side means nothing if you're not happy. So we decided to pack that in, and he went and decided to go and work for somebody else for a bit. And I went back to school and did my training and assessment certificate, so properly learning how to teach others. So this is just a reminder to you as well. If you are unhappy with anything in your life, maybe you're working in a job and monetarily speaking, you're doing really well for yourself, but it's literally killing your soul inside to turn up there every day. You can change your life. You have the opportunity to change it whenever you want. So many of us feel stuck, and I get it because fear a lot of the time keeps you stuck. But we are here for such a short amount of time, and none of our time is guaranteed. We don't know how long we're here for. And at the end of the day, what you're going to regret is not having more money in your bank account. It's for not doing the things that you've always wished that you wanted to do. Don't put off things. If you want to do something, do it. So anyway, I fell into teaching. I did my training and assessment certificate. My husband, for the first time ever, was working for somebody else. He liked it for a little bit. Then this is like for true entrepreneurs, once you've worked for yourself and you felt that flexibility, working for somebody else just makes you feel caged in. And that's exactly what started happening to my husband. So I did my training and assessment certificates, and I wanted to be able to teach. I knew teaching was part of what I'm here to do. So I'm still doing that. I am doing that. And I know that for 100%. I am here to teach, and that's what lights me up and what makes me happy. So I was teaching. What I started teaching was first aid. So one of my friends who I used to work with actually at Planet Surf, her mum had this first aid training business, and it was actually really perfect for mothers because you could pick a class or a first aid teaching class that went for like 2 hours, and you got paid pretty well for it. So I would go teach a 2-hour class, be able to come home. I had my second baby in 2019, so we're fasting forward. I don't know how many years this is now. And so I was a subcontractor, so still a sole trader, still working for myself, and she would pay me as a subcontractor, and I could promote myself and I could book my own jobs as a first aid trainer. I started my own business called Little Miracles First Aid. So this is my next pivot in my entrepreneurial journey. And again, I started a Facebook page, did my own social media marketing, went and advertised myself at registered training organizations and started marketing. So Little Miracles First Aid towards mums. So teaching them how to do first aid on their child. So I don't really have a first aid background, but you can go and get your advanced first aid certificate and you can teach first aid. So with your training and assessment. So went and did that. And I absolutely loved that for a while. And I was doing that in 2019 while I had my second daughter, and it fit in perfectly. So during this time, my husband, he had been downloading this idea to start his own coffee van for years. So he had this sketchbook so what he wanted to do and what he has done is he has a HQ panel van. So for those of you that know cars, it's one of the old Sandmans, that used to have the big surfboards in the back. And he figured out the dimensions. He's very clever. So this is what I mean about, once you have that entrepreneurial mind. Since he was working at the cafe, in his spare time, what he would do was he drew the dimensions of the inside of the back of this Sandman and started fitting in like a coffee machine, like where he was going to fit the generator, where the machine would fit, where the water intake thing goes, where the fridge goes. And he worked it out and designed it down to the millimeter. So very, very clever, started drawing exactly how he wanted his logo to be. And anyway, during this time, he stopped working for, he was working for cars for a car factory, because his two passions, coffee and cars. So think about the things that you're passionate about and bring those things together. That's exactly what he did. He started the HQ Coffee Van, and the tagline is where two passions collide, because it is this old school 1970s panel van with a coffee machine in the back of it. And so he started working at with his coffee van at car shows. So this was like his dream. Car events, making coffee, getting to be around the fumes, the smell. And yeah, so I sort of helped him lift that off the ground, because he'd never done solopreneur type businesses before. And I had done my own setups for my other small businesses. And he'd only ever worked with business partners and ran businesses to a larger degree, but he'd never ran anything on a small scale. So like a sole trader. So I helped him to set up HQ Coffee Van. And luckily I had all that knowledge. And then he had all the other side of knowledge of things, of, product and all of that. So he did that. I ended up, so during COVID, luckily he could still work. Being a takeaway, he was so lucky, being a takeaway coffee van, he could still work. And I couldn't do my first aid stuff. And this is where my psychic stuff during 2020, which happened to a lot of you, really sparked up and ramped up. So 2019, 2020, I couldn't do my first aid stuff. And this is when I feel like I was really fully activated. And it was time for me to step into my work as a light worker. But it was small baby steps to get there. So while I was working on my psychic development, I started helping small businesses and sort of started doing this small business mentoring. My business was called Community Collabs. And what I did was collaborate with other small businesses. I created products. I've had a candle line. I've created bath salts where I collaborated with other small businesses with the idea to promote them, and then also have my own products and make money for the both of us. So this is really like, I'm going through it really quickly, and it sounds like I'm flip-flopping all over the place, but I don't like to think of it as that. I like to think of it as being soul-led and learning and picking up all the things that I needed to learn to get me to where I am now. So I wouldn't have been able to hit the ground running in my Lightworkers business as a psychic medium had I not done all of these things. These were all stepping stones. So those of you that feel like you're flip-flopping all over the place, don't worry, because once you align it with your purpose and figure out what that is, you will find everything that you've done in the past is just leading you to here. And that small business mentoring, like I had a few clients here and there, but it didn't really take off because I hadn't fully embodied the spiritual side yet. And that was important for me to do. So this entrepreneurial journey spanned over 8 years around having 3 children. And I was able to fit what I was doing around my children and still be able to create like a part-time income at that point. So just enough to like keep us afloat. But I then stepped into, so try to cut in this episode, step into my psychic stuff and get myself to where I am now. And I just wanted to tell you, like, to the point that I spoke about at the beginning of this, where I'm able to help people run programs, run classes, and give intuitive insight to people, and really feel like I'm now stepping into my purpose and what I am here to do. And just letting you know, it's okay to constantly pivot. It's okay to constantly change your mind of what you want to do, because we are here to up level. I don't think of it as in like I'm flaky or I keep flip-flopping from one thing to another. Think of it as up leveling, because that's what you're doing. You're up leveling, and it's all leading you to where you need to get to. As long as your purpose, your alignment, your intuition is a part of that. And we all have our own unique soul gifts, and we all have our unique life lessons. And it's just crazy. Like, you can pull some of your soul contracts. So this is actually what I'm going to be helping you with in Psychic School Elite is finding your own unique soul's purpose and helping you to create or to align your psychic or mediumship work or intuitive work or intuitive coaching, whatever it is, or healing, services with what it is you're here to do. So, and you get to change your life if it's not working for you. So don't forget about that. Yes, it is scary. Yes, there are risks involved, but what is the alternative? We always go straight to what if it doesn't work out? But oh my goodness, what if it does? What if it does? What are you missing out on? And can your soul truly stand not doing what you feel like you are here to do? So no matter what it is you're here to do, I really do truly hope that you can find what that is. There is an episode that I will be releasing coming up soon, which will be around, or recording soon, which will be around soul's purpose. So going deeper into that for you. But no matter what that is, if you're feeling an inkling to do something, make the moves. Just start with the next thing and do that. And then the next thing will come in. Don't go so far down the line that you freak yourself out and you don't move, because so many people do this. Don't forget, your soul chose this life. Your soul chose these lessons because they know your soul knows you're capable of doing this. It is just our human conditioning that teaches us that we are not able to do these things, when your soul knows that actually you are limitless. You are a limitless soul. Don't forget, you are a soul, you are a spirit before you are human. And our human puts limitations on us. But if you have had this dream that you are one day going to be doing readings, or you're one day going to be a healer, or you're one day going to be conversing with spirit, you 100% can do that. The only thing stopping you is you. The only thing stopping you are your own fears and beliefs. And, if it's not me that helps you to work through these things and to get you to where you need to be, go and, ask your spirit team to help you, lead you in the direction of someone that can help you to overcome these fears. Because it's not saying I didn't have these fears. I've had every single one of these fears along the way. I had fear of being seen. I've had fear of being judged. I've had fear of coming out of the spiritual closet. I've had fear of failure. I still have fear of failure. So many. Fear of, oh my gosh, I cannot do this. And fear of, what is everyone going to think if I can't do this? But I've worked through a lot of these things on different levels, but they keep coming back up again. The whole point is that you just keep moving. Is just, okay, I've dealt with that, now on to the next thing. And I've, helped myself heal through things and gone to other healers and gone to other intuitives that have helped me. But if I'm the person that you feel drawn to that's going to help you on your journey, I am most honored to help you with this. We actually have soul contracts of who we are here to help and who we're going to work with. So if you feel like you are a light worker, if it doesn't help me saying that you can do it and you're made for this and you chose this, then think about all the people that you are letting down by not stepping into your work, because there are people waiting for you. They have soul contracts to work with you. Your soulmate clients that are not living their lives as lit up or as in the way that they could be to the best of their ability, because you're not helping them. So if I don't help you and you can't get out of your own way, think about all the people that you are letting down by not stepping into your work. So anyway, if you are interested in working with me, we have the ultimate guide to becoming a confident and skilled psychic medium masterclass coming up on February 27. Even if you miss this live, there will be a replay, so you can still sign up for that via the show notes. I have Psychic School Elite, which everything that we just spoke about in terms of purpose, in terms of working through your own limiting beliefs, in terms of psychic and mediumship abilities and bringing those out, in terms of creating your own business. That is what Psychic School Elite is. And that is here to help you step into your work as a light worker and get out of your own freaking way this year. So psychjudemac.com/Psychic School Elite if you would like to join me in that. In the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me on social media at Ms. Jude Mac. Instagram is where I'm at mainly. But thank you so much for listening, and I can't wait to chat to you again.
Little Psychics. I wanted to thank you for tuning into the Little Psychic Podcast with June Mack. I am so grateful to have had you here. You can find me over at junemack.com or on all social media at Ms. June Mack. You can also keep up with me at thelittlepsychicschool.com and on IG at The Little Psychic School. If you enjoyed today's episode, it would mean so much if you could please subscribe, rate, review, and share. It's been an absolute privilege to be in your ears.